This is the Palin Update on SarahNet Radio. I'm Kevin Scholla.
Every child has something to contribute, and if you give them that chance, there is purpose, there is that contribution to be made, and there is that special love that they bring to this world, and that is a love that I think, especially our country, needs more of.
Earlier this year, Sarah Palin highlighted a feel-good story out of Michigan. Owen Groesser, an 8th grader with Down syndrome, got a chance to play basketball for his junior high squad, and Owen delivered, draining 2 3-pointers. Along with praise from Palin, Owen's accomplishments earned him a spot on SportsCenter and support from athletes and fans across the globe. Now, his story continues to inspire, and Owen, fresh off a special night at the Palace of Auburn Hills, will be featured in a lengthy ESPN show. Today, Owen Groesser and his mom, Kari, are here. Another young man with Down syndrome is showcased by the governor after he was named prom king in Wasilla. The Alaska Air National Guard just got stronger. Some spring snow in Alaska. The Palin's team with Arizona Governor Jan Brewer to fight against child abuse. Governor Palin goes after the media for more shoddy journalism and a ridiculous claim about our kids. She also praises one Democrat for doing the right thing. Willow Palin graduates, and her mom has some great advice. More strange decisions from the White House, and Sarah Palin remembers the victims of the Holocaust and one of her heroes, Margaret Thatcher. Just ahead, our latest edition of Steel Resolve with Sarah Steelman. First, we welcome in our guests. Kari Groesser is here, along with her son, Owen Groesser, who you may be familiar with already. In January, Owen, an 8th grader with Down syndrome, got a chance to suit up and get some playing time for his basketball team that he manages. Owen not only took the court, well, he scored, converting on 2 long-range bombs. Then, thanks to Governor Palin and others, the hashtag #GetOwenOnSportsCenter made the rounds, and eventually Owen was featured on ESPN. He continues to inspire. Recently, the Detroit Pistons hosted Owen. He took the court with head coach Lawrence Frank, sat in press row, and much more. And he will soon be on ESPN once again. Let's welcome in this inspirational young man and one of his biggest fans, Owen Groesser and his mom, Kari Groesser. Welcome to the Palin Update.
Thanks for having us.
Hi, Owen. How are you? How's that 3-point shot looking?
Good.
You did such a terrific job in that big game, able to connect on 2 huge threes. How did it feel to play and to score?
I have fun. I could never give up. And my heart did never give up, too.
How did it feel to make the pointers, though, the 3-pointers?
And I think this is good and fun.
It was fun to watch, too, Owen. It was great. Now, Kari, what was this all like? You didn't even know he'd get in the game, right? Let alone contribute as he did. Then the campaign started to get him on SportsCenter. So how did this all unfold for you?
Well, it was funny. He was the actual manager of the basketball team. And one day I went to pick him up from practice, and he walks up to the car with the coach. And I'm thinking, oh, no, what did he do? And they both have this grin on their face, and Coach Howell, his name is Jeff Howell, comes up and he says, hey, we want to suit up Owen for the last home game of the season. What do you think? And I'm just like, I'm thrilled. I'm so excited because I know, Owen, that's kind of been his dream. At our school, basketball is a cut sport. So, for him to be the manager was one thing, but for him to actually put on a uniform and get on the court was certainly another.
Now, you have had plenty of support, lots of people showcasing Owen's great story of inspiration, but when Governor Palin featured you, things really took off. What was your reaction to Sarah Palin recognizing your son?
Oh, we couldn't believe it. The night that it happened, we went to the game, and we had a surprise party to go to. So literally we dropped our kids off and said, okay, get your homework done, take your showers, get into bed. And my husband and I were at a restaurant, and all of a sudden we started getting these text messages like, this has gone viral, he's going to be on the news, he's going to be on SportsCenter. And, my husband and I, we were kind of chuckling and laughing and going, yeah, okay. Well, then all of a sudden we get home, and there he was. He was on the local news, And then, of course, that night he was on Sports Center. And then the next morning, again on Sports Center. And then when you start figuring out and start talking to people, Sarah Palin, so many sports figures had reached out. I mean, it just was crazy. And we just kind of sat back in awe, kind of like, is this really happening? So it's been a really, really great journey for Owen and, for everybody, for this community. So it's been really fun.
Yeah, we certainly use those hashtags here at Saranet Radio and on all our personal accounts, and as soon as the governor put it out there, and we were so happy to see it happen. Now, Owen, the beat just keeps on going for you. I understand you had a night at a Pistons game recently that most guys your age only dream about. What did you do at the NBA game?
Yeah, first, it's only I get there, very happy, and it's only the Pistons men and the criminal guy, and I come ahead, I come. This is my night.
It was your night. Yeah, it was great. I have to say, we showed up, and they just kind of took him away, and he got to do pretty much everything that one of the Pistons, anything that they were doing. He was out on the court with them. He was throwing them chest passes. He was with the team before the game. He walked onto the floor with the coach. He then sat with the team during the game, and then even after the game, he went back into the locker room. So that was, that was a young man's dream come true.
Walking out there with Coach Lawrence Frank, and you were good luck for your team too. When you beat my Bulls that night after they beat the Pistons 18 straight, so you're winning on all ends here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a great night. And like I said, they just embraced him. And since this has all happened, our whole community has embraced him. And we're very fortunate. We are in a school system that has inclusion, so Owen has always been just one of the guys in every classroom, so he has grown up with, this community. So it's really been great for Owen, but it's also been great for everybody who lives in this area as well. So it's, it continues. I don't know if you know this, but ESPN is doing actually an E60 on them. We had ESPN out here for about 8 days worth of shooting. And so that's supposed to air end of this month or beginning of next.
Kari, I didn't send you any of my notes, and here's my next question right here. ESPN is doing a lengthy piece on Owen Sood. Can you tell us about that? You want to guess my next question for $100? Great job. Yeah, that is tremendous. We definitely look forward to that, and we'll definitely be tuning in, and we'll promote that for you, too. And you touched on this a little bit, but again, what has Owen meant to your family and your whole community through this? He's really brought people together, it seems.
He has. He has 3 siblings. He has an older sister, Madeline, and 2 younger sisters, one Lily and one Ella. And I want to say, they're typical siblings. They have their good days, they have their bad days, but pretty much, they're brothers and sisters through and through. And then for the community itself, like I said, Owen has grown up in this community, and pretty much everybody has always known Owen. But this really was a chance for Owen just to kind of, show and shine himself. But you know what? Really, it wasn't anything different because like you said, everybody does know Owen. We've often called him the mayor, and I think for Owen personally, what it has done is he's grown with confidence. He walks a little taller. He talks to everybody. He's certainly not a shy guy anymore. So in that respect, I think this whole experience has just been wonderful for him.
Piper Palin told the governor she's glad she doesn't have a quote-unquote normal brother like some of her friends because that'd be boring. Now, along with your husband, I bet your other children have a special relationship with their brother Owen. You said it's the same dynamic, but, I bet you in the back of their head, too, there's a lot of that going on, too, that it's, they know he's doing some incredible stuff, whether you want to call it regular stuff or not.
Right. Well, it's funny. The basketball coach is also the gym teacher at Van Hoosen Middle School. And on his desk now, in big bold letters, it says Owen's coach. So we've all said, well, I'm just Owen's mom, and all the sisters are saying, yeah, well, we're just Owen's sister.
Hey, listen, when you got the guy hitting three-pointers, that's what happens in the families. We know this game. This has gone from the beginning of time with sports. Sarah Palin often speaks of her son Trig and how there's such a joy in all he does, and he's a little guy, of course. But do you see that from Owen, too, that sense of accomplishment, not just in the big moments like what he did on the court, but the little things?
Yeah, it's when I think back about Owen and all of his accomplishments, it's just been, a wonderful journey for him. He not only plays basketball, but he played on the football team for the junior high. He's been on the wrestling team for the junior high. Right now, he's running track for the junior high. And, even since he was little, he's always been in sports. He's just always been, just very dynamic and very athletic. So when I think of Owen, I never really kind of thought of him or even raising him as a son with special needs. He's just always been the brother. He's always been my son, and we've always put him in situations that kind of tested him, threw him out, I hate to say this, but to the wolves, and to see, what he could do, and he's always thrived.
Well, I think that's a testament to you and your husband. It's obviously working, and that's probably the best way to do it. Hey, Owen, who's your favorite basketball player?
Brandon Knight.
Brandon Knight.
Okay,
yep.
You like Brandon Knight? Yeah, he's a heck of a player. Well, that's great, and I'm sure you got to say hello to him over this course of this. And your mom just mentioned you compete in other sports too. So, what else do you like to do besides basketball? What's your next favorite?
I have fluff. I easy. I do track. It's really easy.
Yeah, track is a tough sport. I got to tell you, that is one that a lot of people overlook sometimes. You think about the team games, but that is wonderful, Owen, that you're doing all that, and a true gift from God here, Kari. Owen, one more thing I want to tell you. Steve Kerr, you may know him as an announcer. Well, he was one of my favorite long-range shooters before that, back when he played. Craig Hodges also I want to mention, but I'd have to say right about now you're my new favorite, and I'm a guy who used to be able to hit those threes. Back in the mid-'90s. Let's just say that's come and go. I mean, I wouldn't shoot as poorly as the president did the other day, I bet, but let's just say that ship has sailed. But I am partial to the three-point assassins, and Owen, you're a great young man. Keep doing what you're doing, enjoying life, and bringing great joy to others. And Kari, to you and your whole family, thanks for sharing your super story.
Well, thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
And Owen, good luck to you and all your teams. You're a busy guy.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Owen's big game yet, you can check out the link for it right at saranet.net or on our Facebook page, SaraNet Radio. And be sure to look for Owen's feature on ESPN. We will certainly let you know when it airs. As Sarah Palin said about Owen and what he's done, today's world needs more of this. Sarah Palin featured a friend's son this past week by the name of Glacier. He was born just a few days apart from Willow Palin, and while Willow graduates, Glacier has a big accomplishment himself. Glacier has Down syndrome, and he's been elected prom king by the Wasilla Warriors. Palin says Glacier's mom, Jana, has been an inspiration to her. Congratulations to Glacier from SaraNet Radio. The Alaska Air National Guard is beefing up. Governor Palin congratulated Lieutenant Renee Lavin of Wasilla and her fellow officers for graduating from the Academy of Military Science in a 6-week program. Some wacky weather this past week all over the country, and while much of the East Coast hovered around 90 degrees, Alaska got some big snow. Governor Palin posted the proof from her sister Molly, a picture of her grill buried in the white stuff. So the snow made a trip to Arizona for the Palins even more appealing, but they had plenty of reasons for the jaunt. Governor Brewer and the Palin family marched at Hope and a Futures Strikeout Child Abuse Walk. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Also in Arizona, Willow Palin's big graduation. Governor Palin, the proud mom, congratulated Willow and her classmates at Penrose Academy, and she also offered these words of advice for kids. Follow your dreams, but be practical to be employable. More attacks on Sarah Palin from the lamestream media. After the passing of the great Margaret Thatcher, Breitbart's Tony Lee pointed out how the governor was falsely smeared by liberal reporters to push their own agenda. Governor Palin commented, too, tweeting, "Dear media, sigh. Where did you guys go to journalism school to learn it's doggone okay to just make things up?" But that is what they did in this case. Governor Palin took the high road as usual and wrote a great piece about the Iron Lady. You can read The Groesser's Daughter by Sarah Palin at nationalreview.com. When Lady Thatcher passed, Governor Palin wrote, quote, "We're deeply saddened at the loss of Margaret Thatcher. While the Iron Lady is sadly gone, her iron will, her unfailing trust in what is right and just, and her lessons to all of us will live on forever. She was a trailblazer like no other. We lost an icon, but her legacy, as solid as iron, will live on in perpetuity," unquote. The Mama Grizzlies' take on the Iron Lady. This past week started on a solemn note as Israel remembered the Holocaust. Across the country, the annual Memorial Day for the 6 million Jews killed, Sarah Palin simply posted, "May we never forget." Much of the media is ignoring the Kermit Gosnell story, the abortionist accused of butchering babies in a horrific case of murder. But not Kirsten Powers. She did report on it for USA Today, and Governor Palin commended her fellow Alaskan, Powers, a Democrat, not falling to the pressure from Planned Parenthood and others. This past week, an idiotic ad came out from MSNBC featuring host Melissa Harris Perry saying we have to break through our private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities. After the weird spot ran, Sarah Palin commented saying apparently MSNBC doesn't think your children belong to you. Unflipping believable. Then she posted a great picture of herself hunting with the caption, "Dear MSNBC, if our kids belong to you, do your kids belong to us too? If so, can we take them hunting after church in our big pickup truck?" No response yet from our MSNBC pals. Wolf Blitzer also dropped the ball, failing to disclose anti-Tea Party associations of a Palin basher. Sarah Palin's message to CNN, "It's no wonder your ratings still aren't matching competitors. American viewers are smarter than you assume." And Governor Palin called out President Obama for more selfishness, tweeting, 100% skewed White House priorities. Blue Angels' wings get snipped, but the White House party with the 1% rocks on. This in reference to the great Navy Blue Angels and the Air Force Thunderbirds forced to cancel their performances this year, but Obama found time to have a concert with Queen Latifah, Justin Timberlake, and others on our dime. Chuck Heath Jr. posted a great picture of the Angels and Thunderbirds on his Facebook page. I've seen them live, folks. They are great. They put on a spectacular show, and it's a shame they won't be performing. If you'd like to read any of Governor Palin's posts or comments in their entirety, just head to Sarah Palin on Facebook or Sarah Palin USA on Twitter. Now, our weekly commentary, Steel Resolve. Here's Sarah Steelman.
Thanks, Kevin. Why don't the Republicans have a Margaret Thatcher? This is a question I've pondered all week, and I'm still not quite sure of the answer. It appears as though she had three things going for her as a female conservative in a man's world. First of all, intellectually, she had a deep and cultivated understanding of why conservative principles work to the benefit of all. She didn't pay lip service to her beliefs or use talking points to regurgitate the same old political rhetoric. She could stand in Parliament and easily defend conservatism against the arguments of the Labour Party as to why her policies would return England to prosperity and lift all citizens. And she could easily communicate that to the public without becoming wobbly. Secondly, she was empathetic and showed compassion to people. Her understanding and caring about individuals was real and credible, partially because of her background from a working-class family. Her father was a grocer who showed and taught her the value of hard work, not just to get ahead or get a job, but because it enhanced her self-worth and self-respect. She understood how important that sense of fulfillment was to individuals. And thirdly, she had an impressive, credentialed education, which for female politicians seems to be a prerequisite in order to be taken seriously. She received an undergraduate degree in chemistry from Oxford and eventually became a lawyer. In short, in order for a female conservative in the States to propel herself past the entrenched establishment Republicans to become a leader or president, she needs to learn the secrets of Margaret Thatcher's success. Let's go, girls. This is Sarah Steelman for SarahNet Radio.
Tune in again next week for another segment of Steel Resolve right here on the Palin Update. And don't forget the Palin Update, including Steel Resolve, is now on demand and available for download. So just head to saranetradio.net, pick the show you want to hear, and you can listen anywhere, anytime. Well, that'll just about do it for this edition of the Palin Update on Saranet Radio. Visit saranetradio.net for continuing coverage of Governor Palin. Also, follow along on Twitter at Saranet Radio, at Kevin Scholla, and at Sarah_Steelman. And we're on Facebook, so like Saranet Radio and like Kevin Scholla. I'm doing some writing for Breitbart News, too, so just go to Breitbart.com and search Kevin Scholla. I want to thank Sarah Steelman and everyone here at Saranet Radio. Thanks to Owen Groesser and Kari Groesser. And thank you for listening today. Please be sure to join us again next time for another edition of the Palin Update. I'm Kevin Scholla. Have a pleasant day.